What if you need to print something 100 times? Copy pasting the same line 100 times? No way, that's exactly what loops are for. And today we are looking at the most fundamental one in Java, the while loop. In the next minutes you will know how it exactly works. Let's go. So what is a while loop? A while loop keeps running a block of code over and over, as long as its condition stays true. Think of it like, while it's raining, keep the umbrella up. The moment that rain stops, the umbrella comes down. So when it doesn't rain, in other words, then I can put the umbrella down, or then I don't need to execute that block of code inside the while loop. So the syntax is very simple. When you want to define a while loop, you start with the keyword while. And after that, you have to define a condition which checks whether it's true. And if it's true, then you will run this part of the while loop over and over. So I could then say, while it's true, since true stays always true, this code will run forever until I break the application, then it will stop. So we will not do that. So let's see that in more action. Let's define a variable and call it integer I equals to 0. Since I is less than 5, then run this code over and over again and print the number. Since I never changes, it will stay forever below 5. So what we have to do here is to add the number or increment the number by 1, like with double plus. Basically, this part says when I execute that, then add I by 1. So if we execute that now, you will see below here that we are starting with 0, executing the number here, adding one number again with I plus plus, but we will not escape or run out of this block since I is still below 5. Then we execute that while loop once again. So we then print the next number, I is 1, added by 1, then it's 2, still 2 is less than 5 or still less than 5, then we will run it once again, and so on. So as you can see, 4 is the last number which is below 5, then it's the last time that loop is incremented by 1. And lastly, if 4 is incremented, the condition up here does not fit at all, since if we increment 4 by 1, then it's exactly 5, and that's not less than 5, it's exactly equal to 5, right? So then, basically, our application inside the while loop can stop and go the next lines in my program. Just a quick hint for you why I used I as a variable name. You will get maybe in your programming career over and over everywhere. And I mostly represents the variable name index, which is like index number of a position, right? So just keep in mind, and it will help you to understand maybe some codes your colleagues or other programmers in your branch did there. One next example would be we don't need only to increment a variable one up, but we can also decrease it. So let's turn around the table and say we are counting something down and call it countdown. And countdown starts by 10, and while our countdown is greater than 0, then run this block. Let's print countdown here and say next dot I or countdown plus plus, because if we increment countdown always after each execution, this also will go infinitely. So we want to decrease this to break that condition or stop that condition here, to go out of that loop, right? And say countdown minus minus, and if we execute that, voila, we are starting from 10, counting down one by one, and at 1 it stops since if we decrease that countdown, lastly, it will get 0, and 0 is not less than 0, right? So that's the condition that our while loop stops at that moment. So same idea, opposite direction. We start at 10, loop while the value is about 0, and use the countdown minus minus to subtract 1 each round. Once it reaches 0, the loop ends and the final print statements runs. Maybe one more example to clever you up. Let's say our I is 10 and our condition is I less than 5, and say we want to print that block while I is below 5, and this will basically never happen because you will not or never see this since I is not below 5, right? If we execute that, that condition does not fit at all, and that part will never be executed. So a quick recap, while loop repeats code as long as a condition is true, always after your counter, and or you will loop forever. And if the condition is false from the start, the loop never runs at all. But what if you want the code to run at least once, no matter what? That's exactly what a do-while loop does. And that's the next video. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Drop a comment, and if anything was unclear, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.